In March 2026, the menus across Chennai's sprawling restaurant chains underwent a bizarre rewrite. High-heat staples like dosa and paratha disappeared overnight, replaced by steam-cooked items like idli. Outside these darkened eateries, the local gig economy ground to a halt. Delivery drivers for platforms like Swiggy and Zomato sat idle during peak lunch hours, their typical hauls dropping from 10 orders down to a single delivery. The shortage even reached the city's infrastructure of mourning. Urban gas-fired crematoriums under the Greater Chennai Corporation announced they had barely 48 hours of fuel left, forcing health officers to quietly stockpile firewood. These local breakdowns, from empty kitchens to wood-fired pyres, were the immediate, visible endpoint of a severed global artery. The crisis began in late February with Operation Epic Fury, a regional military conflict resulting in a hard naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. This animated map shows India's geopolitical vulnerability. The country relies on Gulf nations to supply nearly 60% of its liquefied petroleum gas, or LPG. When the strait closed, the massive flow of energy crossing the Indian Ocean shattered instantly. The deficit worsened when a critical Qatari processing facility declared force majeure. Force majeure is a legal provision allowing a company to halt operations and break contracts due to unavoidable disasters. That single declaration wiped out 30 million metric standard cubic meters of gas from the global supply chain. India's energy distribution runs on a just-in-time inventory model. Facilities do not hold massive long-term reserves. Instead, they maintain a tight buffer of only 20 to 25 days of domestic stock. The moment the global supply halted in the Gulf, a strict 25-day countdown to a nationwide energy blackout began. Faced with a systemic shortfall, the Union government invoked the Essential Commodities Act. They implemented a rigid, zero-sum hierarchy for fuel allocation. This schematic shows the chemical routing inside a gas processing facility. LPG relies on two specific molecules, propane, or C3, and butane, or C4. Normally, these gas streams flow equally into domestic cooking pipelines and industrial manufacturing pipelines. The government issued a C3-C4 diversion mandate. They legally blocked these chemical streams from entering the petrochemical and plastics industries, aggressively rerouting the entire yield exclusively into the domestic household pipeline. This chemical triage worked. Domestic LPG output jumped by 28%, successfully guaranteeing cooking gas for India's 33 crore families. To keep the household stoves burning, the government made a deliberate mathematical choice to suffocate the commercial economy. The physical impact hit Tamil Nadu's hospitality sector within days. Major hotel chains like Adyar Ananda Bhavan reported they had exactly 2 days of commercial cylinder stock left before a total operational halt. Consumer panic triggered a secondary collapse in the digital infrastructure. Millions of frantic users flooded the booking apps of major oil marketing companies, creating a DDoS condition. DDoS stands for Distributed Denial of Service, an event where a server is overwhelmed by internet traffic and crashes. The breakdown extended to the DAC system. DAC is the Delivery Authentication Code, a mandatory one-time SMS password required to receive a cylinder. With networks delayed, delivery agents couldn't authenticate receipts, leaving elderly citizens stranded without gas, even when the physical cylinder arrived. Hyper-digitization was originally built to make gas delivery perfectly efficient. Under the stress of a physical panic, that digital friction became the system's fatal bottleneck. Scarcity instantly birthed a thriving shadow economy. By mid-March, the black market price for a standard commercial cylinder in Chennai spiked from the official rate of 2,043 rupees to over 4,000 rupees. On the ground, the delivery chain fractured. Overworked gas delivery agents began demanding mandatory tips just to carry a cylinder to a ground-floor apartment, effectively holding the fuel hostage. The ripple effects crushed the gig economy. Food delivery workers saw their incomes evaporate as local eateries, unable to afford black market gas, simply turned off their fryers and locked their doors. As the prices inflate, social trust erodes. Vulnerable gig workers and desperate consumers find themselves at odds, competing for basic survival in a market where the rules have suddenly changed. To bridge the massive deficit, India rapidly scaled its non-Hormuz sourcing to 70%. But rerouting shipments from the United States, Norway, and Russia required traversing much longer oceanic distances. Vessels navigating high-risk zones resorted to extreme measures. India-bound tankers turned off their AIS to sail past reported naval mines. AIS is the Automatic Identification System, a network of transponders used to track commercial maritime traffic. The physical delay ignited a political clash. While Tamil Nadu's state government demanded immediate federal intervention to secure relief, the union government focused heavily on broadcast messages of national resilience. Political rhetoric can manage public panic, but it cannot alter the laws of physics, nor can it bridge the weeks-long physical gap of massive tankers slowly crossing oceans. Caught waiting for those ships, Chennai's commercial restaurants and households made a desperate pivot. To survive the gas shortage, they began transitioning away from fossil fuels to keep their kitchens running. The market reacted instantly. Rapid delivery platforms reported a 30-fold jump in the sales of induction cooktops, as businesses and families abandoned gas for the stability of the electric grid. The crisis forced an immediate, large-scale experiment with electric cooking. With thousands of induction units now active across the state, the cylinder problem may have accelerated a transition that would have otherwise taken decades.